My name is Brendan. I'm the Ops Manager here at the Launch Lab, and welcome to the Nedbank Fintech Challenge workshop. And really, we're doing a few of these workshops with Santam, Attack, and Nedbank. And the point is really just to bring a corporate that seems to be in this ivory tower up on their pedestal with all of their rands and dollars and pounds and whatever they have, and to bring them to the entrepreneurial and startup community to engage and try to bridge that gap. And we just want to facilitate that kind of interaction because they want to work with you guys, entrepreneurs. Obviously, they're a bank, and you will see a lot of numbers that they're going to talk about. You want to work with them because you want them to be your customer or your investor or even acquirer if you're looking to exit somewhere down the line. Or if you're just trying to figure out, okay, what is my next thing? You might not have that thing yet. You know, what ideas are they looking for that I can build it for the fintech industry? So that's really the purpose of this workshop today. And the flow of what we're going to go through is Adriano and Wasim, I'll introduce them. They're going to go through some of the context of Nedbank and their kind of broader corporate journey to get them to where we're doing this workshop where they partner with us to build this building and renovate it. And then a little bit into the Launch Lab offering as a follow-on and how they're partnering with us in that follow-on for the benefit of you guys, the entrepreneurs. So speaking to us today is Wasim Hassan, Executive Strategy Execution for Group Technology. He's actually on our advisory board and he mentors some of the companies that are here in the Launch Lab and is a frequent ice cream and butternut thief from two of our companies under the bus. And Adriano, he's the executive for strategy for Group Technology. So two important people, executives, it just means importance and they have things to say. So they're going to give you some context to Nedbank and why they want to engage with us and you guys in this challenge. So I'll hand over to Adriano.
Hi, good afternoon everybody. Thank you for having me. Fascinating introduction, so thank you for that. It's a privilege to be here today, speaking to the likes of yourselves. At very least, I was told not to wear my investment banking suit, so at very least I get to dress like this today. Come down to Cape Town. I'm told some nice wine is waiting for us, so we'll chat after that. I'm really here to just set some context for you, to give you insights into the bank itself. We have a very rich history of innovation, of the ability to sort of, identify innovations that we can bring to clients and bring those through sort of the value chain to commercialize them. You will remember that in 2004, Nedbank had the failed attempt to buy Standard Bank. That was really the sort of where our innovation capability plateaued. Thereafter, we've been quite inwardly focused for a number of years for a number of reasons that today doesn't really allow us to go through. But I'm here to tell you that we're open for business. The bank is very much looking to partner with entrepreneurs, innovators such as yourselves. We offer the scale, we offer the sort of the position of privilege that we have with our clients, a position of trust. We are looking for the likes of yourselves to come up with the innovations and the smart ideas that quite possibly we're not close enough to the action on. So my colleague will dive into these specific ideas that we'd like to chat to you about today. I really just want to give you some context into the mammoth that is Nedbank, the power that Nedbank offers. So without really going through each line here, we're as of December, 93 billion rand market cap. That was at a share price of 188. You would have known that the share price is trading at about 225 now. So we're north of 100 billion market cap, closer to 120. So we're one of the biggest, certainly one of the bigger organizations that trade on the JSE. 7.5 million clients. I think that would be of tremendous interest to the likes of yourselves. We're able to offer scale. And later in the presentation, we'll talk to sort of the rates of innovation, but scale is critically important. We made 10 billion rand of headline earnings last year. For those of you that are not familiar with sort of the term headline earnings, it's a net profit number. 10 billion rand. I mean, just try and get your head around that. That's 10 and 9 zeros, I believe. Our ROE is around 17%, so we're clearly a profitable business. What may be of interest to yourselves, we've got access to 39 countries across the group, across the continent, close to a trillion rand of assets that we manage. So we are no small bank. You won't be able to read this slide, but really what I wanted to point out to you is that when people think of banks, they think sort of, all banks are the same. We are certainly not. You're not comparing apples and apples. Nedbank has historically always been a commercial bank. So you'll see that 47% of our headline earnings comes from what we term the wholesale bank, which is sort of corporate and investment banking. We have historically had a smaller retail banking franchise. So I'm up over here. When comparing us to ABSA, we are not the same thing as ABSA. We have, ABSA is clearly a retail bank, or predominantly a retail bank. We've always been the wholesale bank. So if you want to talk about commercial property finance, Nedbank has the privileged position of having 43% market share in that space. That business pumps out close to 2 billion rand of net profit a year. We are the biggest player in that space. From an investment banking perspective, our treasury office, not comparable to the rest of the banks, but your interaction with the banks on a daily basis would be with the retail franchise. So that's really what I wanted to point out on this slide. I think our culture has always been a conservative one. We don't sing about our successes enough. A number of our competitor banks have stolen the march in that space, I believe. But clearly, a big win for us last year, voted Bank of the Year for South Africa and Africa by the Financial Times. Similarly, by the Banker magazine. We've won awards sort of spanning the full spectrum of the services that we provide. Most importantly for the people in the room today, from a tech perspective, we've received a number of awards for our recent innovations, and certainly our sort of propensity to adopt some of the innovations that are coming out of channels like this. Our strategy from a technology perspective has always been to embrace digitization and modernization. We clearly want to do that with a view to improving profitability, both on the revenue upside side and obviously increasing or improving the cost optimization. Digital innovation is clear for us. Reducing cost to market, embracing the innovations that come out of channels like this is sort of paramount for us. But the world is changing around us, and I think that's why we're here today. We've historically had banks operating in the same way for a number of years. Those times are changing. I think every industry, that's true for every industry, but specifically for banking. So if we look at the world that we operate in, globally, benign growth, it's clear to everybody, slumping commodity prices has really been well touted, so I'm not going to dive into that. From a South African perspective, benign growth is also true. We've got these social political tensions. High probability of downgrade is sort of top of mind for all of us. And from an industry perspective, unprecedented levels of change. The sort of the advent of fintechs and the fintechs moving into our space, clearly they're there to eat our breakfast or our lunch, and the banks have had to respond. Is really the point I wanted to make out of this slide. So new digital technologies in the process of reshaping the value chain. Every part of the value chain is under threat, and best we respond, or we risk being left behind. Is the point. So remaining relevant for clients is important for us, and how do we do so in this world where to reach 50 million users took the radio 38 years. Those of you familiar with Pokemon will know that they reached 50 million users in the space of 1 week. So the rate of sort of innovation is unprecedented, and the adoption of this innovation is also unprecedented. So if we just think of the volumes of data that are being created on a daily basis, or the volume of social networking and that, we've got if we look at Twitter, we've got 450,000 tweets. That's per minute. Now, how do you, so yes, we have these tools that sort of monitor the social networks and that, but how do you make heads or tails, or how do you make any sense of 450,000 tweets a minute, and a number of them pertain to yourself? So really the point is that it's exciting times. You can look at this as a massive threat and sort of quiver in your boots, or you can embrace the change that's happening around us, and I think that's why we're here today. to embrace the change that innovators such as yourselves lead. So, at the risk of sort of repeating myself, every component of the traditional revenue value chain is changing. The threat of disintermediation is really upon us. The prevailing analysts' best forecast is that as much as 40% of our current revenue is at threat from disintermediation. So previously I mentioned that we make 10 billion rand of headline earnings. Now I can assure you that if you shave off 40% of that, we're going to have some grumpy investment bankers without any bonuses. So, in the interest of self-preservation, best we sort of adopt and embrace the change that's happening around us. So the fintech players are really why we're here to sort of engage with yourselves. These are the small, agile, two-man show or three-man show, or far more nimble than a big conglomerate that is Nedbank. And these are the people that are more attuned to what customers are looking for. Have a lot more time to focus on specific parts of the value chain. And these are the guys that we're looking to either partner with or JV with or establish alliances with. The point is, if you uncover the Uber of tomorrow, there is no more fertile ground than Nedbank, I can assure you, to partner with you or support you or fund you we're really opening all pockets. But the point I wanted to make out of this is that there are 12,000 registered fintechs globally. Daily this number changes. There's clearly value that's on the table that the banks possibly haven't leveraged, and these small little innovative fintechs are after all of that value. And certainly the banks may not have looked at smaller little pockets of profitable pools previously with sort of the economic headwinds that I was referring to earlier and the competitive landscape that we operate in. Best we'd be looking at every single pool, is the point. So how does a bank such as ourselves operate in an environment where the business models are changing? So you've got Uber, who's the largest taxi company in the world by market cap, and yet they own no taxis. So they have no OpEx. You talk about Facebook, and they're the world's most popular media owner, but they create no content. We've got Airbnb, which is the world's largest accommodation provider, and they own no real estate. Similarly for Alibaba, they've sort of shifted their business models. So how do we as a bank operate in an environment where the innovations are so extreme that they're changing the face of the world? No longer is it a small little step, but what you guys do on a daily basis really is a massive threat to us, because you can actually turn the world upside down. Is really the point I'm trying to make. So how do we compete in an environment like this? The rules of the game have changed, and business models must adapt. So how have we chosen to compete? I'll give you insights into how the bank is really structured, but we've really created three lanes, for lack of a better word. We've really just created this drive analogy internally to demystify what we're referring to. But we talk internally about running the bank, transforming the bank, and the digital fast lane. And so I'll dive into each one of these in the subsequent slides. But really, running the bank is about keeping the lights on. Transforming the bank is about evolving the bank how we traditionally, ordinarily would have. And digital fast lane has recently been created. And what this aims to do is to actually keep pace with the likes of the fintechs and the innovators that we were speaking about. So from a run the bank perspective, again, this goes back to Nedbank's sort of culture of being quite conservative. We are clearly the leaders in the South African banking system in this space. So keeping the lights on is really what we're great at doing. We have far few cyber security breaches than any of the other banks. This is not an invitation for yourselves to go out and speak to your hacker friends. But we have, from a security competency, we are best of breed, and the SARB would sort of back me up on that. We process 75 million transactions daily. That's 1.5 billion transactions per month. From an operational statistics perspective, We are sort of best of breed. When it comes down to sort of set ones and downtime, system downtime, again, we're sort of industry leaders. You'll see this play out on social media when the banks go down and people aren't able to transact or sort of withdraw money from ATMs. That's when you sort of realize that a set one or two is out there. But clearly from a run the bank perspective, we have always been best of breed. From a transform the bank perspective, we've got a program internally that's called Managed Evolution that really aims to refresh and digitize our systems. It's really just trying to keep we've got a program internally that's called Rationalize, Standardize, and Simplify. What's happened over the years is because of our willingness to deliver CVPs to our clients, we've created more products and processes and that in order to solve for certain problems. The problem with that is that every time that we've brought in a new product to try and solve for a problem, it's introduced more complexity into the system. And what that's resulted in is that we're unable to go to market quite quickly because of the complexity of our back-end systems. And so what we're trying to do as part of this process, this managed evolution process, is rationalize, standardize, and simplify so that our ability to compete going forward is actually is sort of put on a better footing. I mean, you can imagine, 75 million transactions a day with all the various products that we offer to our clientele. I mean, internally we talk about the spaghetti and trying to unravel the spaghetti, and that's really what we're trying to do in this space. The problem with running the bank and sort of transforming the bank is that there's very little management bandwidth left to actually deal with all the innovations that we're talking about. So you've got this wave of innovation that's coming out of Silicon Valley and wherever else in the world these innovators are coming from. But you've got blockchain, fintech, big data, machine learning, advanced analytics. How does the bank keep up in this space? And how do we stay on that leading edge? Quite frankly, when you're running the systems and you're trying to evolve the systems, the bandwidth doesn't exist. And so hence the advent of what we're now terming this digital fast lane, and you're going to see a lot more of sort of this material coming out from the bank. But what this digital fast lane is intended to do, and which it will do, you're sort of on the cusp of the latest information, because those of you that are close to sort of SENS announcements will know that we appointed our Chief Digital Officer, it was, I believe, on Friday afternoon. So he would head up this digital fast lane. But really what this digital fast lane aims to do is to throw out the old rulebook, and that's really what we're doing. So we've always suffered from non-invented here syndrome, and we've always tried to build our own tech internally, and we've always tried to build our own products and our own, do our own research and that sort of thing, which has sort of positioned us favorably in yesteryear. But given the sort of the challenges that we've just been speaking about, it's quite frankly just not good enough. So what we're trying to do with this digital fast lane is partner, alliance, leverage, but really trying to just understand what is the best of breed, understand what are the capabilities out there, and how can we integrate those into our existing systems. So previously, where there was the decree that there was to be no systems or products or apps and that were built externally, we had to build everything internally. Now there is an appreciation that leverage networks from external, get them to build the tech, whatever it may be, and then let's plug it back into the existing system. So that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to go open platforms so that we can create spaces for the likes of yourselves to plug into our data and leverage some of our data to service some of the clients that you would have. So it's radical change in thinking, just so that you can understand the scale of what we're talking about. The tech capability we spend $3 billion a year on. We've got an innovation portfolio that we spend $1.8 billion a year on. And this is really the space that you guys would be plugging into. We spend, just so that we can get clear, 1.8 billion rand a year on innovation projects. So we're here to tell you that we would like you to plug into that. And I can assure you that if you cover the Uber of tomorrow or the Airbnb, you will find fertile ground at Nedbank to partner with you, fund you, JV with you, alliance with you. I mean, that's really the sort of the output of what I'd like you to take from today. So we're not getting it far wrong. If you just look at the quantum of funds that have been spent in the VC funding that's being spent in sort of this tech space, this fintech space, It's clear that the world around us agrees with what we're sort of saying here, and so I encourage you, please leverage the Innovation Lab, you know, the sort of the networks into the bank. If you have got products that can satisfy solutions of our clients, we would be more than interested to chat to you. And sorry, from a slide presentation, so let me keep going. You know, we've always sort of thrown product at people. It's always been a little bit of a, you know, here is a banking product and use it and take it if you like it, or chuck it out if you don't. It's clear that that won't work anymore. So we're looking for frictionless banking, convenience, speed and personalization is what our clients are looking for, specifically from the retail client base. The piece that I've been reiterating around partnering with the likes of yourselves is really this ecosystems part that I'm referring to. Automation is key, so digitization is everything. We don't just talk about, you know, digital channel anymore, but, you know, we are digital in everything that we do. And you know, the volume of insights that comes from the data that we have at our disposal would be of interest to yourself. So, you know, we have historically been very bad at leveraging the data at our disposal to actually understand our clients better. And I can assure you, with the sort of the tech that we're looking at the moment, with machine learning and that sort of thing, we're getting a hell of a lot better at being able to understand who our clients are and what they're looking for. So, you know, expect changes in that space. But this is really sort of the challenge that's gone out from our board. Our board have made it very clear that they would like to fund you know, they want Nedbank to be on this leading edge, this cusp of innovation. We definitely sort of were the innovative bank. If I think back 10, 15 years, when we invested in data and the like, you know, from a global perspective, we will recognize it as an innovative bank. For a number of reasons, as I explained earlier, we've been inwardly focused for a number of years. But the challenge that's gone out from our board is that the current trajectory of our sort of budgeting process and our 3-year planning process says that, you know, we will continue to compete favorably amongst our peers, but we're not really going to shoot the lights out. The board is challenging the incumbent employees, the 31,000 odd Nedbankers of today, to say, how do we change the face of banking? How do we become more aggressive? How do we, you know, how do we achieve the stellar success as an Uber would have, or has over the last number of years? And it will come from opening all pockets is effectively what we're talking about, but leveraging the partnerships and alliances that are at our disposal. You know, leveraging relationships like the ones that we're forming today is really how we're going to get that stellar growth. So over to my colleague to talk to you about the specific areas of interest that we would like you guys to think about. I just wanted to sort of frame that Nedbank is fertile ground for, you know, innovators and entrepreneurs like yourselves. Thank you.